Hello everyone. Today I'll be looking at the Japanese cultural keyword Amae, which is a noun that Jisho, an online Japanese English dictionary, defines as depending on others. And here on the side I have the Japanese spelling for Amae, and the kanji used in this word means sweet. So Amae is a Japanese term for the feeling that an infant has when it craves for its mother. However, the feeling of Amae goes beyond simply the child and the mother. Amae reaches its hands into any relationship where there is an underling and a superior. Amae is the noun form of the verb amaeru, which means to presume upon another's benevolence, or to wish to be loved, and also has the adjective form amae, meaning sweet. In any social circle where a junior member wishes for a senior member to do good things for them, they are said to be feeling amae. While amaeru has existed as a Japanese word for centuries, the concept of amae has only recently been put under closer cultural inspection, starting with the Japanese psychologist Takeo Doi, who analyzed Amae in 1971 with his book Amae no Kozo, The Anatomy of Dependence, saying that there was no English or even European language equivalent of the Japanese word Amae. While it is frequently glossed over with words like dependency and to take advantage of, these translations are loaded with Western ways of thinking and do not fully convey the true meaning of Amae. Indeed, words like dependence are heavily loaded with cultural specific meaning that could never fully satisfy the definition of another word in another language in another culture. Take the simple English word weather, for example, usually translated into Japanese as tenki. However, weather in English can constitute anything from how clear the skies are, to how windy it is, to how the temperature outside is, while its Japanese counterpart tenki usually only concerns itself with the sky and not the temperature. So whenever you translate good weather into Japanese as ii tenki, a bit of cultural meaning is lost. That is why direct translations for complex terminologies can be sometimes difficult, because words tend to have slightly different implications and nuances based on the culture and the language, and it can be difficult to see these different nuances and implications unless you grew up in that culture. In the context of Amae, the English translations dependence and taking advantage of one's benevolence do not do it full justice because of the cultural Latin distinctions among these words. For example, taking advantage of someone's benevolence gives off the subtle implication that it is an act of selfishness and narcissism. But remember that amae is the kind of dependent feeling that an infant would feel towards their mother. It's not exactly a feeling that one would cast off as selfish or negative, as those translations would imply, but rather as a natural and mutually beneficial feeling. The mother gets to express her love and care for the child, and the child expresses their loyalty and gratitude for the mother. Because Japanese society is much more rooted in ideas of social honor and seniority, it is easier for Amae to embed itself into personal relationships. It is said that the term amaeru can be linked back to social systems of traditional Japan, where subordinates would play up to their superiors, invoking feelings of appreciation to gain their favor, and induce kindness and benevolence from them. Subordinates had to have felt amae towards their superiors to get by. Again, this is different from what we might call leeching off of somebody or being spoiled, because it is more of a mutually positive feeling, where the subordinate feels safe thanks to the superior, and the superior feels a motherly care and nurturance towards the underling, which makes the superior feel good. The feeling goes beyond servants and children. For example, wanting a teacher to take kindly to you and share their knowledge, wanting a leader of a club to take you under his wing and teach you how to be successful, or wanting a boss to treat you with kindness and work opportunity can all be considered examples of feeling amae. In essence, this feeling of wanting others to take care of our vulnerabilities and weaknesses is stronger in Japan than in the US, where feelings of independence and self-reliance are stronger and more fantasized. However, selflessness and showing benevolence are still considered a virtue in the US. Consider volunteering, for example. Most people in the US would agree that it is a good thing to volunteer, not only for the people in need and the less fortunate that receive the volunteering aid, but also for the volunteer, because it makes you feel like a better person just for helping others. However, what makes this concept different from Amae is that while the people in need can be thankful for the help that they are given, they probably do not wish to be in the circumstances that they are in, but rather they want to reach a position where they can feel more control and comfort in their lives. Whereas in an Amae relationship, both parties feel content with the roles they find themselves in, as it is for the mutual benefit of each other. One writer on Amae writes that the feeling of Amae is like the reverse feeling of envy in English. Instead of seeing a superior and wanting to have what they have, as with the case of envy, you instead see a superior and want them to take care of you, as with Amae. What makes Amae significant in the Japanese case is that its meaning is deeply rooted into the culture and lives of everyday people and personal relationships, just as the meanings of words like independence and freedom shape American ideals and viewpoints on the world. And that concludes my speech on the cultural keyword of Amae. Here are some of the sources that I used. Thank you for listening.